The furnace in the Hendersons' basement wheezed like it was on its last legs, and I was the only one in Frosty Lake who could make it breathe again. 42 years old, hands permanently stained with grease, and still crawling through crawl spaces at midnight because that's what keeps food on the table. My name is Elliot Crane, and I've been fixing broken heating systems for 20 years while my own life fell apart piece by piece. The text from my wife Marina came through as I was tightening the last bolt. Going out with the girls again. Don't wait up. If you don't like it, leave. If I had a nickel for every time I installed a heat pump while my marriage cooled down, I'd own half this fading town by now. Marina used to wait up for me, used to have dinner ready, used to ask about my day. Now she spent more time getting ready for her girls' nights than she'd spent talking to me in the past month. Designer clothes I couldn't afford, makeup that cost more than my monthly truck payment, and that new perfume that smelled like betrayal wrapped in expensive French lies. I drove home through empty streets lined with boarded-up shops and rusted-out cars. Frosty Lake wasn't much to look at anymore. The factory closed 5 years ago, taking most of the decent jobs with it. Now we had 3 bars, 2 churches, and a whole lot of people drowning their sorrows in whatever they could afford. My brother Derek worked at Murphy's Tavern, the kind of place where secrets went to fade and gossip went to multiply. He'd been texting me all week with worried messages I'd been ignoring. We need to talk. And it's about Marina. And you're not going to like this. Tonight, I couldn't ignore it anymore. The house was dark when I pulled into our driveway. Marina's car was gone, just like she'd promised. I sat in my truck for a moment, staring at the home we'd bought 12 years ago when we still believed in forever. The mortgage was 3 months behind, the gutters needed cleaning, and the front steps sagged like everything else in my life. My phone buzzed. Derek. You won't believe who Marina is kissing right now. The video file took forever to download on my ancient phone. When it finally played, my world ended in high definition. Marina, my wife of 15 years, grinding against some guy in an expensive suit. Her hands in his hair, his hands on her ass, kissing like teenagers who'd just discovered what tongues were for. The timestamp showed 20 minutes ago. The location tag showed the Mirage Club, the sleaziest dive in 3 counties. I watched it again, and again. The guy looked familiar. Clean-shaven, cocky smile. The kind of man who'd never had grease under his fingernails or worried about making rent. Then it hit me. Kevin Stedman. Sold cars at the Ford dealership, married to that sharp-tongued woman Tina, had 2 kids and a house in the nice part of town. My hands shook as I typed back to Derek. How long has this been going on? Months, man. I'm sorry, I kept hoping it would stop. I sat in my truck until the engine got cold, watching that video over and over. Marina's face when she kissed him. I hadn't seen her look that happy in years. Certainly not with me. I didn't sleep. Instead, I sat at my kitchen table with a beer and a calculator, adding up all the signs I'd missed. The credit card bills with charges at restaurants I'd never been to. The new lingerie I'd never seen her wear. The way she'd started working late at the dental office, except Dr. Peterson had mentioned last month that business was slow. When Marina stumbled through the front door at 3 a.m., reeking of alcohol and that expensive perfume, I was ready. How was girls' night? I asked from the darkness. She jumped, dropping her purse. Lipstick and breath mints scattered across the floor. Jesus, Elliot, you scared me. I bet I did. I turned on the lamp. She looked guilty as hell, makeup smeared, dress wrinkled in all the wrong places. Funny thing about girls' night, Derek was at the Mirage tonight. Didn't see any of your girlfriends. Her face went white, then red, then settled on defiant. I don't know what you're talking about. Kevin Stedman ring a bell? The silence stretched between us like a noose. Marina straightened her dress, lifted her chin, and became someone I didn't recognize. So what if it does? You want to talk about Kevin? Fine. He listens to me. He takes me places. He makes me feel like a woman instead of a maid for a grease monkey who smells like other people's basements. Each word hit like a physical blow. 15 years, Marina. 15 years I've worked my ass off for you. For me? She laughed, harsh and bitter. You work for you, Elliot. For your precious business. For your reputation as the guy who can fix anything. When's the last time you tried to fix us? When's the last time you gave me a chance? She was already walking toward the bedroom. I'm done with this conversation, and I'm done pretending to be happy in this hopeless life with a hopeless man. The bedroom door slammed. I heard the lock click. I finished my beer and started planning. Mrs. Gibbons from next door was watering her flowers when I left for work the next morning. She'd lived in that house for 40 years and knew everyone's business better than they knew it themselves. "Morning, Elliot," she called out, but her voice had that careful tone people use when they know something you don't want them to know. "Morning, Mrs. G." Marina looked pretty last night. That's a nice dress for girls' night. The old bat had been watching. Of course she had. Yeah, she looked real nice. Mrs. Gibbons watered the same flower 3 times while working up the courage to say whatever she'd been wanting to say. "You know, Elliot, I've seen that Kevin Stedman's car parked on Maple Street a lot lately, right around the corner from here. Funny coincidence. Maple Street. 2 blocks away, perfect for sneaking around without being seen from our house. Except Mrs. Gibbons saw everything. Thanks for letting me know. At the shop, I couldn't concentrate, messed up 3 estimates, and nearly electrocuted myself working on a heat pump. Finally gave up and drove to Murphy's Tavern. Derek was setting up for the lunch crowd, polishing glasses with the methodical precision of a man who'd been doing the same job for 10 years. "You look like hell," he said. "Feel worse. Tell me everything." Derek poured 2 coffees and locked the front door. "Started maybe 4 months ago. Marina would come in with her friend Kara, you know, the blonde one with the fake laugh. They'd sit at table 6, order expensive drinks, and wait." "Wait for what?" "For Kevin. He'd show up around 9, always alone, always in that fancy suit. They'd talk for a while, then Marina would leave with him. Kara would stay, flirt with whoever had money, go home with some random guy. 4 months. 4 months of lies, of working late and girls' nights, and you wouldn't understand. Does everyone know?" Derek's silence was answer enough. Everyone except me. "People talk, Elliot. You know how this town is, but most folks like you respect you. They're not happy about what she's doing. But they're not surprised. She's been different lately, demanding, rude to people. Last week she snapped at old Pete Morrison for holding up the line at the grocery store, called him a pathetic old man because he was counting out change. That didn't sound like the Marina I'd married, but then again, I wasn't sure I knew who that woman was anymore. What about Kevin's wife? Tina? Far as I know, she doesn't have a clue. She's busy with those kids working part-time at the library. Good woman. Doesn't deserve this any more than you do." I finished my coffee and stood up. "Thanks for telling me." "What are you going to do?" "I'm going to fix this. It's what I do." That night, I followed Marina to the Mirage Club. Parked across the street in my work truck, windows down, watching the kind of people who thought a Wednesday night was perfect for getting drunk and making bad decisions. Marina arrived at 8:30, wearing a red dress I'd never seen before. She walked into that club like she owned it. And maybe she did. Maybe this was her real life now, and our marriage was just the lie she told herself during daylight hours. Kevin showed up 20 minutes later, driving a brand new F-150 with dealer plates. He kissed her right there in the parking lot, hands all over her like they were alone in the world. I took pictures, video. Enough evidence to bury them both. They stayed inside for 2 hours. When they came out, they were drunk and laughing and all over each other. Kevin fumbled with his keys while Marina pressed herself against him, whispering things that made him grin like a teenager. I waited until they drove away, then I made my move. Kevin's truck was parked outside the Sunset Motel on Route 9. Room 12, lights on, curtains drawn. I could hear Marina's laugh through the thin walls. I didn't slash his tires. That would have been too obvious, too easy to trace back to me. Instead, I loosened the valve stems just enough to let the air out slowly. By morning, all 4 tires would be flat, and Kevin would have a long walk to find help. Then, I left a note under his windshield wiper. Hope the ride was worth it. A friend. I was back home by midnight, sitting in my kitchen with a beer and a plan that was starting to take shape. Marina came home at dawn, sneaking through the front door like a guilty teenager. She didn't know I was awake, didn't know I was watching her tiptoe up the stairs in her bare feet, carrying her heels so they wouldn't click on the hardwood. She looked satisfied, happy, more alive than I'd seen her in years. That hurt worse than anything. My phone rang at 7 a.m. Marina, frantic. Elliot, something's wrong with my car. It won't start. I disconnected her battery cable during the night. Nothing permanent, nothing that would cost money to fix. Just enough to strand her at home. I'll take a look at it, I said. I need to get to work. Call in sick. You look tired anyway. She stared at me like I'd grown a second head. I can't just call in sick. Sure you can. Tell Dr. Peterson you've got the flu. Tell him your husband's been keeping you up all night. I smiled. It's not even a lie. While Marina called her boss, I reconnected her battery and checked the engine. Everything worked perfectly, just like I knew it would. Funny thing, I said when she came back outside. Looks like the battery cable came loose. These things happen. She didn't buy it, but she couldn't prove anything. That was the beauty of knowing how things worked. I could break them and fix them without leaving a trace. At the shop, I started making phone calls. First to a private investigator in the next town over, a guy named Ray who specialized in cheating spouses. He was expensive, but he was thorough, and he was discreet. I need everything, I told him. Photos, video, financial records, phone records if you can get them. And I need to know about the other guy too, Kevin Stedman. I want to know what he's hiding. How dirty do you want me to get? As dirty as it takes. Next, I called my lawyer. Sarah Mitchell had handled my business contracts for years, and she was tougher than a $2 steak. Divorce? She asked. Maybe. Depends on what my wife wants to do. But I want to be ready. Smart man. Michigan's a no-fault state, but evidence of infidelity can still help with asset division, especially if she's been spending marital assets on her boyfriend. That got my attention. What do you mean? Credit card records, joint accounts, anything like that. If she's been using your money to wine and dine her lover, the court takes a dim view of that. I thought about all those restaurant charges, all those mysterious expenses. I'll get you the records. Elliot, be careful. Don't do anything stupid. Don't confront them. Don't threaten anyone. Don't break any laws. Let me handle this the right way. Of course, I lied. That afternoon, I drove to the Ford dealership where Kevin worked. He was in the showroom, chatting up a young couple who looked like they couldn't afford a bicycle, let alone a new truck. He had that salesman's smile, all teeth and no sincerity. I pretended to look at a used pickup while I listened to his pitch. He was good. I had to give him that. Smooth, confident, the kind of guy who could sell ice to an Eskimo, the kind of guy women probably found irresistible. Can I help you find something? I turned around. Kevin was standing right behind me, still wearing that salesman's smile. Up close, he was smaller than he'd looked in the video. Soft around the middle, manicured hands, the kind of man who'd never done a day of real work in his life. Just looking, I said. Well, if you change your mind, I'm Kevin Stedman. I'll take good care of you. I bet you will. Something in my tone made his smile flicker, but he recovered quickly. You look familiar. Do we know each other? Small town. We probably have mutual friends. Yeah, probably. What's your name? Elliot Crane. I run Crane HVAC. Now his smile disappeared completely. He knew exactly who I was. Well, he said carefully, if you need any automotive service, you know where to find me. Oh, I'll definitely keep that in mind. I left him standing there, and I could feel his eyes on my back all the way to the parking lot. Let him sweat. Let him wonder what I knew and what I was planning to do about it. The game was just getting started. Ray, the private investigator, called me 3 days later with a voice full of bad news. "You're not going to like this, Elliot. Tell me anyway. Your wife's been seeing Kevin Stedman for 6 months, not 4. They've got a routine. Every Tuesday and Thursday at the Sunset Motel, plus weekend trips when you're out of town on jobs. She's been using your joint credit card to pay for everything. Hotels, dinners, lingerie, even a weekend in Chicago last month." Chicago. Marina had told me she was visiting her sister in Detroit. There's more. Kevin's been skimming money from his dealership. Small amounts, but consistent. Looks like he's been funding this affair with stolen cash. Can you prove it? I've got photos, video, credit card records, even hotel receipts with both their names. And I found something interesting about your wife's friend Kara. What about her? She's not just an innocent bystander. She's been setting up these meetings, booking hotel rooms, even providing alibis. Turns out she's got her own reason for wanting to cause trouble. What reason? You fired her 3 years ago from your HVAC business. She applied for a bookkeeping job, remember? You caught her stealing petty cash during her first week. I remembered. Kara had seemed so sweet, so eager to help. Then I'd noticed money missing from the register, small amounts that might have gone unnoticed if I hadn't been so careful about the books. When I confronted her, she'd cried and begged and promised to pay it back. I'd fired her anyway. She's been planning this revenge for 3 years? Looks like it. She befriended your wife, introduced her to the club scene, probably introduced her to Kevin too. She's been playing the long game. The pieces were falling into place. Marina's sudden interest in going out, her new friends, her attitude change. It had all started around the time I'd fired Kara. I need copies of everything, I said. Already on the way. Elliot, be smart about this. Don't do anything that'll land you in jail. I'm not planning to hurt anyone. Good. But I know that tone. You're planning something. He was right. I was planning something that would hurt them worse than any physical violence ever could. I was planning to destroy their lives the same way they'd destroyed mine. The confrontation happened at the Hendersons' barbecue, one of those neighborhood gatherings where everyone pretended to like each other while gossiping behind backs. Marina had insisted we go, said it would be good for us to get out together. What she really meant was that Kevin would be there with his wife Tina, and she wanted to see him. I watched them all evening, the secret glances, the careful way they avoided being in the same conversation. Marina was wearing the red dress again, the one from the Mirage Club. Tina Stedman was trying to keep up with 2 energetic kids, while Kevin worked the crowd, shaking hands and slapping backs like he was running for mayor. "Nice party," Kevin said when he found himself standing next to me at the beer cooler. "Sure is. How's business at the dealership?" "Can't complain. People always need cars." He cracked open a beer. "How about you? Heating and cooling, right?" "That's right. I fix things that are broken, sometimes things that look fine on the surface but are rotting from the inside." Kevin's hand tightened on his beer bottle. That's good work." "It is, honest work. I take pride in doing things the right way. You know, not cutting corners, not cheating people, not taking what doesn't belong to me." "Of course. Not everyone feels that way. Some people think they can take whatever they want, whenever they want it. But everything has consequences, Kevin. Everything comes due eventually." He was sweating now, despite the cool evening air. "I should get back to my wife." "Yeah, you should. She seems like a nice woman. Trusting. The kind of woman who deserves better than she's getting." Kevin walked away without another word. I saw him whisper something to Marina, saw her glance over at me with worried eyes. Let them worry. Let them wonder how much I knew. Mrs. Gibbons appeared at my elbow like a gossipy ghost. "Interesting conversation with young Kevin." just talking business. Mm-hmm. You know, Elliot, I've been thinking, if someone was sneaking around my neighborhood, carrying on behind their spouse's back, I'd want to know about it, wouldn't you? I suppose I would. Good thing I've got that new security camera. Amazing what those things pick up these days. Amazing quality, too. High definition, they call it. She patted my arm and walked away, leaving me with the distinct impression that Mrs. Gibbons knew a lot more than she'd been letting on. The barbecue ended around 10. Marina was quiet on the drive home, staring out the passenger window like she was solving the mysteries of the universe. Nice evening, I said. Kevin seems like a nice guy. His wife's pretty too. Marina's head snapped toward me. What's that supposed to mean? Nothing, just making conversation. Don't. Don't what? Don't make conversation. Don't pretend everything's normal. Don't act like you don't know. We pulled into our driveway. I turned off the engine and looked at my wife of 15 years. Know what, Marina? She was crying now, mascara running down her cheeks in black streaks. I never meant for this to happen. But it did happen. Yes. And you're not sorry it happened. You're just sorry you got caught. She didn't deny it. What do you want, Marina? You want a divorce? You want to run away with Kevin and live happily ever after? I don't know what I want. Well, you better figure it out, because this limbo we're living in, it's over. One way or another, it's over. I went inside and left her sitting in the car. Marina made her choice the next morning. I woke up to find her packing a suitcase, throwing clothes into it like the house was on fire. I'm staying with Kara for a while, she said without looking at me. How long is a while? I don't know. Until I figure things out. What's to figure out? You're sleeping with Kevin Stedman. You've been lying to me for months. You've been spending our money on your affair. Seems pretty clear to me. She stopped packing. How did I, what? Find out? Marina, half the town knows. The other half is pretending not to know because they feel sorry for me. It's not what you think. It's exactly what I think. You're having an affair, and you're too much of a coward to admit it. She zipped up the suitcase and faced me. Fine. Yes, I'm having an affair. Yes, I've been lying to you. And yes, I've been spending money we don't have. Are you happy now? Ecstatic. This marriage has been over for years, Elliot. We both know it. I just had the courage to do something about it. Courage? You call sneaking around behind my back courage? I call it survival. Do you know what it's like being married to you? You work 16 hours a day, you come home covered in grease and sweat, you fall asleep on the couch watching TV. When's the last time we went out to dinner? When's the last time you told me I looked pretty? When's the last time you made me feel like a woman instead of a roommate? Her words stung because they had some truth to them. I had been working too much, neglecting our relationship, taking her for granted. But that didn't excuse what she'd done. So you decided to find someone who would make you feel like a woman. Yes. And that someone happened to be a married man with 2 kids. Kevin's going to leave Tina, we're going to be together. I almost laughed. Marina, Kevin's not leaving his wife. Men like Kevin don't leave their wives. They just keep their wives and their girlfriends and pretend both relationships are real. You don't know him like I do. I know him better than you think. She picked up her suitcase. I'll be back for the rest of my things. Take your time, I'll be here. After she left, I sat in my kitchen and called Ray. She's moved out, I told him. That's actually good news. Makes things cleaner legally. How are you holding up? I'm fine. What's the next step? I keep gathering evidence. You keep your nose clean. Don't contact her. Don't follow her. Don't do anything that could be construed as harassment. What about Kevin? Same rules apply. Let me handle the investigation. You handle staying out of jail. But I wasn't planning to go to jail. I was planning something much more elegant than that. I spent the rest of the day making phone calls, first to my bank, freezing our joint accounts and credit cards, then to my insurance company, removing Marina from my policies, then to my lawyer, filing for divorce, and demanding an immediate accounting of our assets. Marina would find out soon enough that her sugar daddy lifestyle was about to get very expensive. Tina Stedman called me 2 days later. I almost didn't answer. I didn't recognize the number, but something made me pick up. "Mr. Crane, this is Tina Stedman, Kevin's wife. I think we need to talk." We met at Rosie's Diner, a place where the coffee was strong and the conversations were private. Tina was smaller than she'd looked at the barbecue, with tired eyes and worried lines around her mouth. She looked like a woman who'd been carrying a heavy load for a long time. "I know about the affair," she said, without preamble. "How long have you known?" "Suspected for months. Knew for sure last week when I found hotel receipts in his car. The Sunset Motel isn't exactly Kevin's usual style." "I'm sorry." "Are you? Or are you just as angry as I am?" I thought about that. "Both, I guess." "Good. Because I've got a proposition for you." Tina opened her purse and pulled out a manila folder. "Kevin thinks I'm stupid. He thinks I don't pay attention to money, don't understand business, don't know how to use a computer. He's wrong about all of that." She slid the folder across the table. Inside were bank statements, credit card bills, and photocopied receipts. Kevin's been stealing from the dealership for over a year. Small amounts, but it adds up. He's also been lying on his taxes, claiming business expenses that were really personal purchases, and he's been hiding money in an account I'm not supposed to know about. "Why are you telling me this?" "Because I want him destroyed. Not just divorced, destroyed. I want him to lose his job, his reputation, his freedom. I want him to pay for what he's done to our family." "What about your kids?" "My kids deserve better than a father who's a liar and a thief. They deserve better than parents who hate each other. Sometimes destruction is the only way to rebuild." I studied the documents. Kevin had been busy. Hotel rooms, expensive dinners, jewelry purchases, even a weekend trip to Las Vegas that Marina had never mentioned. "What do you want from me?" "Partnership. You know your wife, I know my husband. Together, we can make sure they both get exactly what they deserve. Which is? Public humiliation, financial ruin, legal consequences, the kind of justice that courts don't always deliver." I closed the folder. "I'm listening." Tina smiled, and for the first time since I'd met her, she looked genuinely happy. "Here's what we're going to do." The plan was elegant in its simplicity. Kevin and Marina thought they were being clever, but they'd been sloppy. They'd left trails everywhere, digital footprints, financial records, witnesses who could place them together at specific times and places. Tina had access to Kevin's computer, his email, his business records. I had Marina's social media passwords, her phone records, and a private investigator who specialized in making cheaters' lives miserable. "The key," Tina explained, "is timing. We hit them with everything at once, from multiple directions. They won't have time to coordinate their stories or cover their tracks. We met every few days at different locations around town, planning our attack like generals preparing for war. Tina was smarter than I'd given her credit for, with a ruthless streak that impressed me. "Kevin's been telling people at work that his marriage is solid," she said during one of our meetings. "He's been playing the devoted family man while sneaking around with your wife. His boss loves him, trusts him completely. That's going to make the fall even harder." "What about Marina's job?" "Dr. Peterson's a family man, very religious, very traditional. He won't tolerate an employee who's been having an affair with a married man, especially not when that affair has been conducted on company time." We had it all worked out. Tina would expose Kevin's financial crimes to his employer and the police. I would provide evidence of the affair to Dr. Peterson and anyone else who needed to see it. Ray would make sure the story got maximum exposure throughout the town. "There's one more thing," Tina said during our final planning meeting. "Kara. What about her?" "She's not just Marina's friend. She's Kevin's backup plan. When this all comes out, when Marina becomes a liability, Kevin's going to dump her and move on to Kara. They've been flirting for weeks." "How do you know?" "Because I've been watching. Kara thinks she's playing everyone, but she's just another pawn in Kevin's game. When we destroy him, we destroy her too. And that doesn't bother you? Should it? She helped wreck 2 marriages. She gets what she deserves. I had to admire Tina's heartless approach to revenge. She'd learned to think like the enemy, which made her a dangerous ally. When do we start? I asked. Tomorrow. Kevin's got a big sales presentation to the dealership's corporate office. He's been preparing for weeks, thinks it's going to get him promoted to manager. Instead, it's going to be the day his world ends. And Marina? Leave Marina to me. I've got something special planned for her. The next morning, I woke up feeling better than I had in months. Today was the day Kevin Stedman and my cheating wife learned that actions have consequences. Today was the day I stopped being a victim and started being something much more dangerous. The first domino fell at 9 a.m. sharp. Tina walked into the Ford dealership carrying a briefcase full of evidence and a smile that could freeze hell. She asked to speak to the general manager about irregularities in employee conduct and financial practices. By 9:30, Kevin was in the manager's office trying to explain why his expense reports didn't match his actual activities. By 10 a.m., the corporate investigators were on their way from Detroit. I was at Dr. Peterson's dental office by 10:15. "Mr. Crane," Dr. Peterson said, looking surprised to see me. "Do you have an appointment? Is this about Marina? She called in sick again today." "It's about Marina, but not the way you think." I handed him the folder Ray had prepared. Photos, credit card receipts, hotel records, everything documented and cross-referenced. Dr. Peterson's face went through several color changes as he reviewed the evidence. This is very disturbing. It gets worse. She's been using sick days to meet with her lover. She's been lying to you for months. I can't have this kind of behavior in my practice. My patients trust me to maintain professional standards. I understand completely. Dr. Peterson closed the folder. I'll need to terminate Marina's employment immediately. This kind of conduct is unacceptable. I thought you should know before it becomes public knowledge. Public knowledge? Small town, Dr. Peterson. Word gets around. By noon, half the town knew that Kevin Stedman was under investigation for embezzlement, and that Marina Crane had been fired for conducting an affair on company time. The other half found out by dinner time. Mrs. Gibbons was in her element, spreading the news with the efficiency of a professional broadcaster. I always knew something wasn't right about that girl, she told anyone who would listen. The way she'd sneak around all dressed up for her girls' nights. Girls' nights, my foot! Marina called me at 2 p.m., hysterical. What did you do? What did you tell Dr. Peterson? I told him the truth. You bastard. You ruined my life. No, Marina. You ruined your life. I just made sure everyone knew about it. Kevin says you're trying to destroy him too. Kevin's destroying himself. I'm just helping him along. This isn't over, Elliot. You think you're so smart, but this isn't over. She hung up, but I wasn't worried. Marina had played her best cards already. Now it was time for the final act. The confrontation happened at Murphy's Tavern on a Friday night when the whole town was out drinking away their troubles. Marina and Kevin walked in together, making no effort to hide their relationship now that it was public knowledge. Kara was with them, playing the loyal friend supporting her besties through their difficult time. They didn't see me at first. I was sitting in the back corner, nursing a beer and watching the show. Derek was behind the bar, polishing glasses and trying not to stare at the train wreck unfolding in his establishment. Can you believe the nerve? Someone whispered at the next table. Coming in here like they own the place. Shameless, someone else agreed. Both of them. Marina heard the whispers. Her face was flushed. Whether from embarrassment or alcohol, I couldn't tell. Kevin looked like a man who'd aged 10 years in 1 week. The corporate investigation had found irregularities dating back 2 years. He was facing criminal charges and civil lawsuits that would bankrupt him. Kara was the only one who seemed to be enjoying herself. She was dressed to impress, flirting with every man in the place, acting like she was the star of her own reality show. That's when I decided to make my move. I walked over to their table, carrying my beer and wearing my best customer service smile. "Evening, folks. Mind if I join you?" Kevin started to stand up, but Marina grabbed his arm. "Sit down," she hissed. "Don't cause a scene." "I'm not here to cause a scene," I said, pulling up a chair. "I'm here to congratulate you." "Congratulate us?" Kara asked. "Sure, you three have accomplished something remarkable. You've managed to destroy 2 marriages, end 2 careers, and ruin 3 reputations all at the same time. That takes real talent." "Go to hell, Elliot," Marina said. "Already been there, thanks. Spent the last 6 months there while you were screwing around behind my back, but I'm feeling much better now." Kevin found his voice. "Look, Crane, I know you're angry." "Angry? Kevin, I'm not angry anymore. Angry was 3 weeks ago. Now I'm just impressed by your stupidity." "What do you mean?" I pulled out my phone and showed them the screen. It was displaying a live video feed from inside Murphy's Tavern, broadcasting to a Facebook group that included most of Frosty Lake's adult population. "Smile, everyone. You're on camera." Marina went white. "You're recording this?" "Oh, I'm doing more than recording. I'm broadcasting, live, to about 300 of our closest friends and neighbors." Kevin lunged for my phone, but I was ready for him. I stood up, stepped back, and let him stumble into an empty chair. "Careful there, Kevin. Wouldn't want you to hurt yourself. You've got enough legal troubles already." The whole bar was watching now. Derek had stopped pretending to work and was openly staring. Other patrons had pulled out their own phones, recording the confrontation from multiple angles. "You want to know the funny thing?" I said, loud enough for everyone to hear. "I actually feel sorry for you, Kevin. You threw away your marriage, your career, your reputation, and for what? For Marina? Did you really think she was worth all that?" "She is worth it," Kevin said, but his voice lacked conviction. "Is she? Because from where I'm sitting, she looks like a middle-aged woman who got fired from her job for screwing around on company time. She looks like someone who destroyed her 15-year marriage for a few months of excitement. She looks like someone who's about to be alone and unemployed and facing a very expensive divorce." Marina was crying now, mascara running down her cheeks in familiar black streaks. "And you, Kara, the puppet master. Did you really think I wouldn't figure out your little revenge scheme? Did you really think you could manipulate my wife into having an affair and I'd never connect it back to you?" Kara's confident smile faltered. "I don't know what you're talking about." "Sure you do. 3 years ago, I fired you for stealing from my business. You've been planning this ever since. The problem is, you're not as smart as you think you are." I pulled out a folder and dropped it on the table. "Ray's been busy. Turns out you've been running the same scam on other people. The Hendersons, the Morrisons, the Patels. You befriend the wives, introduce them to men who are willing to have affairs. Then you blackmail everyone involved." Kara's face went from confident to terrified in about 2 seconds. "The police are very interested in your little operation. Blackmail's a felony, Kara. You're looking at serious prison time. You can't prove any of that. Actually, I can. Ray's got photos, bank records, even recordings of you setting up meetings and demanding payments. You've been a busy girl." The tavern was completely silent now, except for the sound of Marina's sobbing and Kevin's labored breathing. "Here's what's going to happen," I said, addressing all 3 of them. "Kevin, you're going to plead guilty to the embezzlement charges and cooperate with the investigation. You're going to pay back every penny you stole, plus interest. You're going to divorce Tina and give her everything, the house, the kids, the savings, all of it. And you're going to disappear from this town and never come back." Kevin nodded like a beaten dog. "Marina, you're going to sign the divorce papers without contesting anything. You're going to take your clothes and your car and whatever's left of your dignity, and you're going to start over somewhere else. You're going to leave me alone, leave this town alone, and never contact me again." Marina couldn't speak through her tears, but she nodded too. And Kara, you're going to prison. But before you go, you're going to make a full confession and implicate everyone who helped you. You're going to return every penny you extorted from your victims. And you're going to spend the next 10 to 15 years thinking about what happens when you mess with the wrong person. I finished my beer and stood up. Oh, and one more thing. This whole conversation has been broadcast live to the entire town. By tomorrow morning, everyone in 3 counties will know exactly what kind of people you are. Your reputations are destroyed, your careers are over, and your lives, as you knew them, are finished. I walked toward the door, then turned back for one final comment. You wanted to destroy my life? Congratulations, you succeeded, but you forgot something important. When you destroy a man's life, you better make sure he doesn't have the tools to rebuild it. And you better make sure he doesn't have the skills to destroy yours in return. I walked out of Murphy's Tavern into the cool night air, leaving behind the wreckage of 3 lives and the satisfied murmur of a crowd that had just witnessed perfect justice. 6 months later, Kevin was in minimum security prison, Marina was working as a waitress in a town 200 miles away, and Kara was awaiting trial on multiple felony charges. Tina had started over with her kids in a new house bought with Kevin's seized assets. Dr. Peterson had hired a new receptionist who actually showed up for work. And me? I rebuilt my business, paid off my debts, and learned that sometimes the best revenge isn't getting even, it's getting ahead.